Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $15 Bank Shot best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Super Tuesday in college hoops. Here are the games. First up, we go to the Mountain West Conference as Fresno State takes on Wyoming. This one's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on Fox Sports 1. Both of these teams having really disappointing seasons thus far, and two programs that usually expect big things year after year. And Wyoming last season was an NCAA tournament team. They brought back a few players from last year's roster, but still a lot of underperforming players and a lot of injuries this team has faced, and that's why they've struggled in Mountain West play. They went on a big-time losing streak as well, losing 8 straight games, 6 of those in the conference. But Fresno State has not won a single road game in Mountain West play. They only have 2 true road wins overall this season. I think Wyoming is the better team. It's certainly the better offensive team, that's for sure. Fresno State's ranked 274th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. And while Wyoming's defense has struggled on paper, I do think the shot quality data is promising. I do think we're going to see some positive regression for Wyoming's defense as the season continues. You got to worry about motivation, with a team like Wyoming that had big expectations. They're 1-7 in conference play. They've lost a lot of games already this season. You worry about motivation at some point, but this is a revenge game. They already lost to Fresno State once in a low-scoring, close game. I think Wyoming puts on a show here at home, gets a nice feel-good win. So I'm going to lay the points here with Wyoming at home. Next up, we go to the Atlantic 10 as VCU takes on Davidson. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network. Now, in the first meeting between these two teams, VCU won by 17 points, 89-72. But when you look at the shooting numbers in that game, you see Davidson shooting 2 of 11 from 3, 18.2%. They also had 20 turnovers in that game, something that we rarely see from Davidson teams. A team this season and in years prior that take care of the basketball at very high levels. It was very surprising to see Davidson struggle with the turnovers in that game, but it was against a very good defense, and it was in a true road spot. Now you're at home here facing VCU on your home court. I do think Davidson will be a lot sharper offensively and defensively, because when you look at the numbers for VCU in that game, shooting-wise, they shot 15 of 24 from 3 in that one, 62.5% in the first meeting between these two teams. David Shriver was 6 of 8 from 3 himself, and Jaden Nunn was 4 of 5. This is a decent shooting team. They're improving quite a bit as the season carries on, but they're only shooting 35.1% overall from 3 this season, nowhere near that 62.5%. So I do think that game was a little bit more of a fluke than anything else. And now you're in a true road game here. Davidson's not having its best season as a program. We know that. This is a team that expects a lot of things every year. They lost a lot of production from last year's team, so there's no surprise there. New head coach as well. But I still think Davidson's good enough here to win this game on its home court. I like the Wildcats in this one. Next up, we go to the MAC as Northern Illinois takes on Western Michigan. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. Western Michigan has lost 4 straight games. Northern Illinois has won 3 of its last 4 games. But because of those recent results, I think we're getting some value here with the home team, who I still think is the better team overall in Western Michigan. I think Western Michigan has a huge advantage in the rebounding department in this one. You look at Northern Illinois this season, they're ranked 288th in the country in offensive rebounding percentage, 330th in defensive rebounding percentage. Western Michigan top 100 in both offensive and defensive rebounding, so we should expect plenty of second chance looks for Western Michigan on the offensive side of things, and they're a pretty efficient offensive team to begin with, 160th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency, pretty good shooting team, especially from the free throw line. So, if you look at their losses that Western Michigan has recently, 3 of those were to some of the better teams in the conference in Ball State, Akron, and Ohio, and the other one was a true road game against Central Michigan. Yes, it's not been the best season for Central Michigan, but they do have that upset win over Michigan earlier in the year, so not too bad of a Chippewas team. I do think Northern Illinois is overvalued in this spot, so give me Western Michigan. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we stay in the Mid-American Conference as Akron takes on Buffalo. This one's going to be 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN+. And there's no doubting that Akron has one of the better defenses in the conference, in the MAC conference this year. But I am a little bit concerned with their most recent games against Miami, Ohio, and Ohio, the Bobcats, defensively, especially with their 2-point defense. We saw Ohio in the most recent game. They scored 77 points in that one against Akron's defense, and they had a 63.3% field goal rating, or field goal percentage from 2-point range. We saw the previous game against Miami, Ohio. The Redhawks scored 68 points in that one. They had a 62.1% 2-point field goal percentage. That's a pretty steep percentage percentage allowed for an Akron defense that overall only giving up 46.7% in their 2-point field goals. And we know Buffalo, not necessarily the most efficient team scoring-wise in the conference, but they play at such a fast pace, so there is normally a lot of high-scoring games with the Buffalo Bulls this season. They're 11th in the country in average possession length on offense and 18th on the defensive end. So sure, they're going to be giving up a lot of points most games, but they're also going to be scoring a good amount because of the pace that they play at. We know Akron's offense is solid. They should be able to score against this Buffalo defense no problem. So I do think because of that fast pace, because Buffalo's the home team in this one, and because of that concerning numbers from Akron's defense in their last couple of games, I'm going to take the over in this Akron-Buffalo game. And the final game we're going to talk about for Tuesday's card in college basketball, it's Indiana and Maryland. This one 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Now, Indiana hasn't necessarily been known to be a very good road team in college basketball. This season, I will say they have a couple of nice wins on the road against teams like Xavier and Illinois. But they also have some lopsided blowout losses, mostly in the conference, to teams like Rutgers and Penn State as well. They also lost to Kansas by 22 points on the road, 84-62. They also gave up 91 points in a true road game against Iowa earlier this season. Now, Maryland, not many teams have a better home court advantage than Maryland does, and they have not lost a single home game in the conference this year. They've only lost one home game all year long, and that was against UCLA, one of the best teams in the country. So it is very difficult to beat Maryland when they're playing at home. I don't like taking Indiana when they're playing on the road. And just statistically, I do think Maryland does have the upper hand. The shot quality data, not really loving Indiana right now. They do take a lot of low percentage shots, a lot of long three-point jumpers. And yes, they have some NBA talent on this team, so they can make those three-point jumpers most games. But in this road spot here on the 5-game win streak, the value is just not with Indiana, in my opinion. Give me Maryland here. I think they win this game. I'm going to lay the points. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.